Right, here we go, you boys. Some striker recommendations for you. First up, Jackson. Big week last week, 21 points. He's 4.2 mil, averaging 9.6, and they've got Ghent and Brighton coming up next. Looks attractive, and he seems to be playing most of the games as the starting striker. Another option, reasonably obvious, but Watkins averaging 7.7, fixtures against Bayern and Ipswich coming up, probably going to play both games, you'd have thought, almost certainly. But he is 5.8 million, fairly expensive if you've already got Salah and Haaland. If you fancy a little cheap punt, getting a few minutes and probably due to get some proper minutes, Duran, only the 3 million for him, and he looks on fire every time he comes on the pitch. So decent options, nothing too mad, because all of the double game week games this teams this week have, fairly obvious striker options. For captains, it's pretty much now going to be Haaland, isn't it? For most people, if you were thinking of going for something different, you're thinking maybe I'm going to take a big risk here. I wouldn't necessarily advise it, but perhaps Jackson. Those two fixtures should play quite a lot of minutes. Could be good for him. Yeah.
Going midfielders for me this week. Going to be short and sharp. Right, here we go. Just in case you hadn't realised, Rodri's out for this season. ACL, gone. If you caught us on our game week review Monday morning, then you'll have seen Ross was a big fan of Maddison's performance over the weekend. And for me, 100%, Maddison would definitely be a good one to jump on this week. And he's going to get that big price rise after a massive haul in game week 5. However, I'm looking elsewhere. Now, for me, I think we need to be looking at Tielemans a bit more. Now, he's bossing the Villa midfield. I recommended him in game week 3 as a transfer. Back then, he was averaging 7.5 points per game. Since then, he's now averaging 8.3 points per game. He's scoring bonus points 80% of the time, and he's joint third for the big chances created, up with the likes of Palmer and KDB. He's on 3 assists for the season with 1 goal, and he's only 7% owned. Now, I can't believe we're at game week 6 and we still don't know who the Villa penalty taker is. Famously, Watkins, he doesn't fancy him. Rodgers, he scored one for the under-21s during the international break, so he might be keen. But something tells me Tielemans is going to be the man on 12-yard duty for Villa this season. Why, you ask? Because he's got big Belgian balls. The fixtures are now going to start to swing in Man City's favour. And in case you didn't realise, they will be on double game week duty for 7 of the next 10 game weeks. This is also due in part the next round of the Carabao Cup will be played during game week 9, and City are in that. Now, in this period, they've got trips to Palace, Brighton, Bournemouth, Wolves and Newcastle, and they host Fulham, Southampton, Tottenham and Man United. Now, I've seen enough of this young lad, Savinho, to think I fancy a bit of that. So at 3.6 million, it's favourable. And he's due a 0.3 price rise this week. He scored 15 points in game week 5. He's got 3 assists for the season. And this week he's off to Newcastle and a midweek trip to Slovakia to face Slovan Bratislava. So I'm keen. I'm keen to give him a try. He's passing the eye test. I feel like he's not really reaching the heights that I'm expecting from the performances that I'm seeing so far. So I think there's still more to come. And cool. If Dan Burns playing left back on Saturday, he's in for a bad day. Talking of City, captain choice this week got to be Haaland.
All right, boys. So game week 6 defenders for me this week. And if you were to ask me to name 3 geniuses, I wouldn't go, Einstein, Newton. I'd go White. Gabriel, Saliba, yeah. So Timber, all right. So yeah, the three highest scoring defenders in the game last season were Arsenal players. So I see a pattern emerging, yeah. So yeah, my main pick is the old Timber. Timber. Yeah, I recommended him Game Week 3's video actually when he was 3.4 million. So just going to borrow Adam's trumpet. And yeah, I mean, obviously there's a few question marks over him, but potentially, a great route into that monster of an arse defence. And, he's obviously very, very versatile as well. So, yeah, I mean, what swung it for me was they've got 3 home games in a row coming up, and they feature against Leicester and Southampton. So some tasty fixtures there for Arsenal. Trent and Dalot were high up massively on my radar, but Trent's 5.9 million, so a bit too rich for my blood. But if you can afford him, he's getting hard to ignore, and will no doubt go over the £6 million bracket. And Dalot as well, 4.3 million. Had another game week, like Trent. Probably due a rise. So yeah, both these players actually last season finished on the exact same of points, 223. So you'd be getting the joint 5th best defenders from last year's game if you went for either of them two. But yeah, price and relative fixture ease, I'd lean towards the old Timber. Oh, if you pardon the pun. Keepers, yeah, I've had a few crippling doubts actually over Sanchez. I've read a few articles where Maresca said that Sanchez could be the Prem keeper, and Jorgensen will be the cup keeper for the Europa and the Cups there. So, which has been the case so far, to be fair. So, yeah, I mean, the only decent keeper at a lowish sort of price in my book is Martinez. It's 3.6 million. Fixtures aren't amazing this game week. I mean, they do feature against Ipswich, but, you've got Bayern Munich in there as well. But, he'll probably get some good save points from that. And as always with these transfer recommendations, it's not just really for the game week, especially with this one, it's more of a Simon Says one. So one of these ones you can, put in your team keeper in there until further notice. So he was the 4th best keeper on the game last season with 167 points. And from a captain, I'm going boring. I'm just going Haaland. So, and on that note, remember, stay humble. Yeah.